She's like, Alyssa has her. Alyssa gets look, Indiana, you're oh, yeah. Be careful. Yeah, no, be careful. Yeah, it's really. We can talk. Should I order this? Or is that left? Yes, we could.
30-second warning.
Hey, ya quiero empezar.
Yeah, we have a lot of bills. Yeah, I'm sorry. The thing is with tables, many deals last week. Oh yeah, these are the last week's deals. Sí, ya ves que no hubo Senate la semana pasada. Son todos los días de la semana pasada. You're right. Tienes toda la boca llena. Wait a minute.
Call this meeting to order at 6:13. Senate Secretary, can you please proceed to a quorum call?
President Loya. VPI Miramontes.
Present.
VPE Alvarez.
Present.
Executive Assistant Navarro.
Present.
Senator Perez.
Present.
Senator Perez Ramos.
Present.
Senator Duran.
Present.
Senator Strickland. Senator Juan David Diaz Olmos.
Present.
Senator Diana. Senator Alvarado.
Present.
Senator Fulbright.
Present.
Senator Burkhoff.
Present.
Senator Shasho.
Present.
Senator Gutierrez.
Present.
Senator Guerrero.
Present.
Senator Lechuga.
Present.
Senator Morales.
Present.
Senator Ochoa. Senator Rodriguez.
Present.
Senator Zuniga.
Present.
Point of order.
Senator Diaz?
Point of order, she was not addressed properly.
Yeah, did we get Senator Rodriguez?
Senator Ramirez.
Here, I'm so sorry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Remain quorum.
I'm you.
Senate Secretary, could you please proceed to review last week's minutes? Senator Burkhoff?
Can we go back up to the appropriation bills, please?
It says they were paused. I've never seen that before. You know, point information, what is paused? Keep going, appropriation. Appropriation. Right there. So like was paused, what's that? Oh, yeah. Oh, my bad, my bad. I read it wrong. Can I motion,
You can recheck.
motion to approve, last week's agenda.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to approve last week's agenda. Senator Rodriguez. We got a motion and a second to approve last week's minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? Last week's minutes are approved. Senate Secretary, will you please proceed to review this week's agenda? Senator Diaz.
I want to approve the orders of the day.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to approve the orders of the day. Senator Guerrero. All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the orders of the day. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? This week's agenda is approved. Senator Rodriguez.
I motion to recognize Senator Ochoa.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to recognize Senator Ochoa. Senator Gutierrez. All right, we got a motion and a second to recognize Senator Ochoa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? Welcome, Senator Ochoa. All right, moving on to our first point of business. Today we have some guests joining us today. We'll go ahead and begin with EPCC SGA. We'll have them come up front and quickly introduce themselves.
All right, hello everyone. As he already mentioned, we are from Paso Community College Student Government Association. My name is Luis Caro, President. First of all, I want to thank very much to your president for inviting us to be here. As I told him in my email, we have the initiative of proposing a friendship and an open collaboration and communication with your SGA board and our SGA board. So we're just here for you guys to meet us, for us to meet you. We're very happy to be here. So feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us in our Instagram website. So yeah, feel free to invite us to any events you have, to ask us any advice or any recommendations you want from us. So yeah, thank you very much for having us. And this is my board. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Farjana Shumi and I'm the Vice President of EPCC HTA. And yeah, we're here to learn from you and we would love to come to your meetings maybe. And we'd like to invite you guys to our meetings also, right? So we're inviting you to our meetings also. Please come and meet us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brenda Lizao. I'm a senator, and like you said, we're here to make friendships and learn from you guys.
Hello guys, my name is Alejandra Flores. I am the campus representative. Thank you for the inviting. Graduating this semester, and I'm hopefully trying to apply for YouTube SGA. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Luis Gonzalez and I'm also a senator for Valle Verde campus. And I'm really glad to meet you all and I hope we can have future collaborations. Thank you.
And once more, thank you for having us, and we're very happy to be here. And feel free to reach out to us. Thanks. Oh yeah, sorry. We did bring a small gift. Sorry. And so just feel free to grab mine and just. Thank you very
Senator Diaz.
Alright, so I just want to highlight like the work that they do. So I believe it was last month. They were actually were in DC representing El Paso and EPCC at the US SGA.
the American Silver Aviation Conference Summit in DC.
Yeah, so they do a lot of important work. I actually have the pleasure of knowing their advisor, Nadia Rivas. So, yeah, they do a lot of amazing work, and hopefully, yeah, we can see you here in the near future.
Thank you.
Vadim?
Thank you so much, and hopefully we can take a picture afterwards, you know, stay along. We also have some bill readers joining us today. You guys just want to quickly stand up and introduce yourself? Yeah, just name and major.
Hello, my name is Katie Reese. I'm studying art education and I'll be graduating pretty soon, hopefully within a year.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Paulina Ponce. My major is operational and supply chain management, and I'm a graduate of Spring 2025.
Welcome, thank you for joining us. All right, moving on. Oh, we also have accelerators joining us.
No.
Oh, bill readers?
I'm Leila Chapman. I'm an undergraduate in mechanical engineering and a senior, hopefully graduating next semester.
Welcome, thank you for joining us. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna begin with the first part of business. Join Senator Pettis?
Oh, are we going straight to the new business?
Yes.
Okay. So, good evening,
Senator Duran.
Acknowledge their guests.
Yes, oh, that's right. We also have Dr. Moya and some guests joining us. If you guys want to quickly introduce yourself.
Absolutely, we're delighted to be here. Professor Moya with the Department of Social Work.
Dr. Schauber with Rehabilitation Sciences.
And
Paula Ramirez, I'm a graduate student in social work.
thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. All right, now we can get down to this. Sorry about that. All right, so on our first point of business, under new business, bill number 18, Senator Pettis, floor is yours.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. This is the first bill of the night. Unfortunately, Mr. Adelina couldn't make it to Senate. We're still let me know. And just to give a brief context about this bill, is that Tolulope Ina has been in the past previous senator, even graduate senator of the presenting the College of Grad School. Huh? Graduate school. Okay. And actually, so he's already in his last year of PhD. From my experience here in UTEP, I have seen him in the engineering department a lot. Why? Because he was one of the founders of NESI, which is the National Society of Black Engineers. And it is very interesting to see him submit this bill, which he will be saying that since he's most likely going to graduate, this is his last bill. And I believe that this is the first UTEP student to go to this conference, which is the Apple conference, dedicated to technology and engineering companies throughout the nation. And he wanted to be also the first one to do that step as a UTEP student. Fortunately, he already got his lodging covered through friends. He has no funding from any department whatsoever, but he was asking for the amount of $158, which was something within our, you could say, budget. And yeah, thank you.
Any questions from the Senate? At this point, I'm looking for a motion. Senator Boatright.
I move to appropriate the sum of $158 to Bill 18.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to appropriate the amount of $158 to bill number 18. Senator Chapman. All right, we got a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $158 to bill number 18. I'll now open the floor for discussion.
Question?
I mean, like you said, we know, so, I mean, it used to be next year. Awesome meeting last year, so
Senator Alvarado. We called to question, so we had a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $158 to bill number 18. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? We hereby appropriate the amount of $158 to bill number 18. Moving on to our next point of business, under new business, bill number 23, Senator Pettis, the floor is yours.
Just present it? Okay. So, okay, I'm trying to, by any chance, is someone here to represent bill number 23? Okay, making sure. So these are 4 students from the oncology lab that are from the same research team, and they're attending to a conference, I believe, in Houston to seek more funding opportunities and collaborating with schools and overall extending their research opportunities as well as just sharing their, I could say, development through networking. What else?
Senator Pettis, will you be representing this bill?
Yeah.
You want to read the title?
Oh, my bad. That's what I forgot or something. So a bill to appropriate the sum of $750 to help defray expenses of sending 4 students of the oncology laboratory day conference, Houston, Texas, scheduled for November 6th to 7th, 2024 at Bioscience Research Collaborative, BRC at Rice University.
Any questions from the Senate? All right, at this point, I'm looking for a motion. Senator Joshua?
Motion to appropriate sum of 750 to.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to appropriate the amount of $750 to bill number 23. Senator Boatright? All right, we got a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $750 to bill number 23. I'll now open the floor for discussion.
Who's laughing?
Doctor Francia.
Oh, who's laughing?
Doctor Francia.
Is that what department?
Biomedical center.
Yeah, that's why I don't,
Yeah.
it's not my field. Sorry.
Transportation.
Yes.
Senator SML Duran.
I call the question.
All right, we call a question. We had a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $750 to bill number 23. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? We hereby appropriate the amount of $750 to bill number 23. Moving on to our next point of business, under new business, bill number 26. Senator Pettis, the floor is yours.
Okay. So for bill number 26, do you mind standing up and read the title of the bill, please?
Oh,
Thank you.
so a bill to appropriate the sum of $170 to help defray the expenses of hosting our first official organization meeting with access and drinks. This will also cover the costs of getting our organization supplies such as t-shirts for official completion class attire and the meeting and schools for graduating for seniors, which is scheduled to take place on November 11th and 25. But 2024 at the youth campus. These funds will be used to provide food and entertainment for the youth students attending the lectures.
Motion.
SML Duran.
I motion to appropriate the sum of $70 to bill number 26.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to appropriate the amount of $170 to bill number 26. Senator Guerrero. All right, we got a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $170 to bill number 26. I'll now open the floor for discussion.
Yes.
Oh, so it's like kind of helping out.
Yeah.
Organization guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something I would like to point out is that I do remember taking out and letting them know that we do not appropriate funds for food in general. Our decision made to the committee is for, I could say, direct for them to towards t-shirts. And since we want to help them.
Do we have to take that out of the bill?
Yeah. Are we able to check it out? Thank you.
Can I motion for a friendly amendment, or do we do that later?
Well, currently we are in a motion. You have to,
So I'll motion it.
We have to strike it though.
yeah, we have, yeah.
So we have to retract and then strike it and then.
You're saying we have to retract?
Yeah, if it's just small grammar stuff, we can do that afterwards. We don't have to do it.
Well, it's not,
right
you're
now.
taking out. And the itemization as well.
It was only for the shirts, so they included the.
There's no shirt or.
You see it?
There's scrolls, there's tablecloths.
So would it be striking itemization one in general?
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay. We
We
have
can
to
strike that after.
Then we can strike that.
Okay.
I
call the question.
Call the question. We got a motion and a second to appropriate the sum of $170 to bill number 26. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? All right, the ayes carry. Motion passes. We hereby appropriate $170 to bill number 26. Senator Boatright.
Point of information, do we have to strike it now or no? We'll do that after?
Yeah. We can edit the bill to just remove stuff. I'm pretty sure that there's not much of a big, unless we're adding, changing words or changing amounts or sums. But you guys, you could do a motion right now. SML, done.
I motion to strike that the word is down.
Okay. We had a motion to strike the wording on food. Senate Secretary, could we return to bill number 26? And we'll be removing, yep.
Keep going to the cover expenses. Yeah, I'll just,
Lead cover the expenses.
I would say our first official organization to cover. Does that make sense? Yeah, and then delete. Our first official meeting to cover, just like we would. There you go. Thank you.
And then.
That's fine. Oh, no, that's fine, because you're only covering the shirts.
Okay.
There's also food and snacks in the whereas.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh, yeah. This is the second whereas.
The meeting will be strict.
No, that's fine.
And then also after November 11th. And why does it have 2 days? Oh, yeah.
So that's fine. It's fine if they're saying that they're serving food, as long as we're not covering it. As long as we're not covering it.
Senator Alvarado.
I to recognize President.
We got a motion on the floor to recognize President Loya. Senator Boatright. All right, we got a motion and a second to recognize President Loya. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? Welcome, President Loya. Ali Dia.
It says food up there as well, so these funds will be used to provide food. On the last line on the title, yeah, to provide food.
Just put, these funds will be used to provide t-shirts and then for student attending.
Why does it have November 11th and 25th? Yeah, just the 13th. Or like a dash, but since it doesn't.
All right, we'll return the floor with you, SML Duran.
Okay, just say these funds will be used to provide t-shirts and then for you students. You can be entertained it. There you go.
Check
And
the
the-
last paragraph.
It still wasn't changed in the second whereas.
Oh.
Are we allowed to?
Yeah, Vice President Alvarez.
Point of clarification, so
it doesn't matter if the bill mentions that they will be serving food as long as it's not part of the appropriated amount. So the main paragraph should be the first one and the title and the be it enacted. So this is the one that also needs to be fixed to match the title.
And other expenses. Or just, you could just say, and other expenses such as schools matters.
Yeah, we can take care of the little technicalities afterwards.
Because I wouldn't know.
Why is it 2 days?
Yeah, Vice President Alvarez.
Okay, so just for future reference to the appropriations committee, just don't forget to make sure that the bill is already updated whenever it's presented to the Senate.
Senator Bettis.
Why is there 2 dates?
Oh, so from my understanding, there's no dates they have to get t-shirts. It was part of them being to following as the other bills.
Like, why does it say November 11th, 25th, 2024? Why does it say November 11th, 25th, 2024?
So as I mentioned, it's you have to put a date for every bill, and therefore once they submit, because I believe it's the meeting they were deciding the dates. When I received the bill, it had both dates, so we leave it as it is, and then the Senate secretaries are the ones that give the final date of receipt be returned by, which is something that's not filled on my behalf.
What, all right. VP Alvarez.
So just to clarify on Senator Bettis's question, she's not asking about the date that the receipts need to be submitted. She's mentioning the other dates, the November 11th through the 25th.
Oh, yeah.
So the meeting is scheduled to take place both dates? Or do you see the?
Yeah. I mean, the bill passed through Ms. Maggie, approved as it was with both dates, so I just left both dates as it was. Please let me know if that should be an inconvenience, which I believe not. Therefore, that's why I leave it.
Senator Burkhoff.
Point of order, let's just move on, we can fix everything else. Sorry, passed. Move on.
All right, moving on to our next point of business. On the new business, Bill number 29. Senator Bettis, the floor is yours.
So I'll leave the floor to Senator Gutierrez.
So Horacio Carrillo is in the conference. He is right now in the University of Arizona, Chicano. He will present his research, Las perspectivas de liderazgo en la frontera. His research based on the influencing the ability to shape opinions, inspire others, and create alliances in the cities, and in the Juarez and here in El Paso. Yeah.
Esmeralda Duran.
I move to appropriate the sum of $175 to Bill 29.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to appropriate the amount of $175 to Bill number 29. Senator Avila. We have a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $175 to Bill number 29. I'll now open the floor for discussion.
Should we read the rest of it, please? Yeah, you're good.
Oh, wait, no.
Airport.
So, for research based.
It just says random airport. Wait.
Uh-huh.
All right, sorry. It's open? Oh.
Yeah, the floor is open for discussion.
That's
On the very last one, yeah.
I mean, we can fix that later. but-
No, that's actual proper
I
bill.
know, but like, if there's any, like, grammatical errors.
Oh, but that's part of the bill.
Did you say she's already?
Senator Churchill.
Yeah, he is in the conference.
I call the question.
All right, we call to question. We had a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $175 to bill number 29. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? All right, we hereby appropriate the amount of $175 to bill number 29. Moving on to our next point of business, under new business, bill number 31. Senator Bettis, the floor is yours. Senator Churchill.
A bill to appropriate the sum of $525 to help defray expenses of sending 3 members of Institute of Management Accountants to attend the Institution of Management Accountants Student Leadership Conference in Anaheim, California, scheduled for November 7th to 9th, 2024 at the Hyatt Regency, Orange County in Garden Grove, California.
Any questions from Senator Boatright?
I'm going to appropriate the amount of $525 to the bill number 31.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to appropriate the amount of $525 to bill number 31. Senator O'Shawn. All right, we got a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $525 to bill number 31. All those in favor, I'll now open the floor for discussion.
I want to take a moment to thank you for your comprehension. I usually have all the bills in my head, and as you saw, we didn't record last week. I was all the week out last week, and thank you for bearing with me. Yeah. So from I can remember is that as we're familiar with these types of trips, is that it's a great opportunity for these 3 students to attend, which I believe is the first time, the Institute of Management Accounting. And it will give them to, I believe, a huge opportunity to know how to dictate and lead their chapter. Especially, yes, it has career fairs, it has workshops, but this is a very valuable opportunity for them to learn from other chapters of the nation and keep growing.
Can we read the rest of the bill, please?
It mentions TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it because somebody put their time in to make this, so I would give them the courtesy to be reading it. But they're already there.
Yes.
1, 2. Oh, well, so, okay.
Yeah, remember we do the refund basis, so like even if they're there, we'll be fine.
So y'all want to read it? Cool.
Senator Boatright.
So something
Senator.
very quick thing. If you guys are interested, I can actually send you the final bill as well. Yeah, because
We'll be in a book at the end of the year.
it would be nice because that's what we do in the publications committee, which that's why I'm confused, especially with previous bills, because we do change them with the guests. Like, but yeah, it's nice to read that.
I know someone took the time, that's why.
Senator Burkhoff.
I call the question.
All right, we call to question. We had a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $525 to bill number 31. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? We hereby appropriate the amount of $525 to bill number 31. All right, moving on to our next point of business, under new business, bill number 32. Senator Bettis, the floor is yours.
Ida, do you mind reading the title of the bill, please?
A bill to appropriate the sum of $200 to help defray expenses of sending 1 student to attend the American Society of Mechanical Engineering, ASME, to the International Mechanical Engineering Congress and Exposition, IMEC, at Portland, Oregon, from November 20 to the 26th, 2024.
Senator Bettis, would you like to talk a little bit more about the bill?
Yeah. So this is a very exciting bill, especially I can truly understand the importance since it's in my field, engineering. And what I can say from all my time in appropriations, it's actually the first time I've ever seen that the university only sends one student to present a research paper, not a research poster, a research paper on their own. And as you can see, the importance of this conference for the university is right there. It's very rare for me to see that high of a registration fee, which was of $940 just for her to be able to present her research paper. And fortunately, that was covered by the Aerospace Center. So that, I think it speaks by itself of importance of her research, which is very amazing. And something else I would like to highlight, I also work at the Aerospace Center, not in her team though, but from the time I've been here, she's always been there 6, 7 a.m. every day. So I would like to personally congratulate her for her work. Oh, she's an undergrad, by the way. Yeah. Question?
Any questions from the Senate? Senator Boatright.
I move to appropriate the amount of $200 to bill number 32.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to appropriate the amount of $200 to bill number 32. Senator Guerrero. We got a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $200 to bill number 32. I'll now open the floor for discussion.
So, I'll be honest with you, we're trying our best at our Aerospace Center. But, yeah, it's great to see that total honesty. And is that, as you have seen in the news, we're not very high in funds right now in terms of research. So it's amazing to see that even though we're willing to pay for Ida's registration fee.
SML Duran.
I call the question.
All right, we call to question. We have a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $200 to bill number 32. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? We hereby appropriate the amount of $200 to bill number 32. Moving on to our next one of business. Under new business, bill number 33. Senator Bettis, the floor is yours.
Katie, do you mind reading the title of your bill, please?
A bill to appropriate the sum of $175 to help defray expenses of sending one student to attend TAEA, Texas Art Education Association Conference 2024 at Moody Gardens Convention Center, Galveston, Texas, from November 14 to 16, 2024.
Any comments on the bill, Senator Bettis?
The conference will be, I will be giving a workshop for other professors in different parts, from different parts of Texas. These workshops are done so that activities can get to underfunded communities. This project that I created along with my friend Adriana was picked up by the Rubin Center, and then later on it was picked up by Horizon Middle School, and they used it during their summer programs.
Awesome. Any questions from the Senate? Senator Boatright.
I move to appropriate the sum of $175 to bill number 33.
All right, we got a motion to appropriate the amount of $175 to bill number 33. Senator Morales.
I second.
We got a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $175 to bill number 33. I'll now open the floor for discussion.
Any additional you'd like to add?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for reading the bill. As well, these funds will help me a lot, not only in my future career, but I also want to give something back to the community. This project was created in mind with the El Paso community in mind, and seeing it thrive and being requested somewhere else really means a lot.
Senator Boatright.
Call the question.
All right, we call to question. We got a motion and a second to appropriate the amount of $175 to bill number 33. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? All right, we hereby appropriate the amount of $175 to bill number 33. At this time, we'll go ahead and continue with our business, but I would like to excuse the bill readers. We do have a lengthy meeting ahead of us. Thank you for joining us, but if you'd like to be excused at this time. Moving on to our next point of business. Under new business, appointments, legislative assistant, Senator, Senator Burkon, floor is yours.
Table for next week. I put the table.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to table appointments on the new business for next week. Senator Pettis? Senator Boatright? All right, we got a motion and a second to table appointments for next week. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Any abstentions? All right, appointments will be tabled for next week. Moving on to our next point of business. Under new business, Dr. Moya, food insecurity. And
Well, good evening. May we present from here?
yes,
First of
here.
all, want to thank you for the time that you had allotted us to share with you important, thank you very much. Okay, is this a mic, right?
Yes.
Use one of these in the other meeting earlier this afternoon. We're delighted to be here. I want to commend you. I was sort of like having a side conversation with Dr. Schober, and I said, Dr. Schober, please confess. Did you have any of these experiences that you're having when you were an undergraduate student? And he said, no. And so what about a graduate student? And he said, no. And I said, well, what about a doctoral student? And I said, neither did I. And so I want to commend you for being very intentional with how you spend your time and how you practice leadership. Because what you are doing here is a wonderful role model and an example of what education and the power of education is all about. I'm especially also proud to see that the officers from the El Paso Community College are here. So we're twice as fortunate this evening, right, Dr. Schober and Paola? And so what we want to do is share with you some important work that has been taking place here at the university. And I know you have plans for the evening, so we're not going to be here like a lot, but we want to make sure that we have enough time to have a conversation with you. I want to recognize my colleague, Dr. Gregory Schober, Assistant Professor with Rehabilitation Sciences and a top scholar in areas of policy and health. My colleague, Amy Wagner, who is a top professor in public health and who is really a master in statistical analysis. So we're very fortunate to be working with Dr. Wagner. And my background is in social work, but my brain is wired in an interdisciplinary way. And so I have great respect and value for all the other disciplines that help me advance my understanding of social justice in the world. And today with us, we're extremely fortunate that Paola Ramirez is here with us. Paola is also a member of the Food Equity Student Council and a graduate student who will be graduating May of this year, right? Yes, okay, very good. So maybe we go to the next one, and we're going to share the space, and so you're going to see us going back and forth. We want to acknowledge some really key organizations, because when you're doing this type of work, which was initially not funded, I must confess, it all started with a question, and the question for which I have no idea, and the question was, well, how does food security look on campus within UTEP? And I couldn't answer that question. Back in, was it 2019, that it was brought to my attention, and I approached Dr. Natalicio at that time, and I said, Dr. Natalicio, can you help me answer the question? And she said, I don't think we know about it. And I said, okay, but she said, go and find out. And that's precisely the kind of marching order that you want your president to say. And then she followed and said, and by the way, don't ask me for money, because we have no funding. And I said, okay, I'm not asking for funding, I'm asking for permission. So with your permission, we will begin the journey to try to document what food insecurity or security looks like. Since then, we haven't stopped, right, Dr. Schober? And Paola, you've seen us sort of like continue. And so we're very fortunate that today we're in a different position, because for the last few years, we have had receiving funding from the El Paso Inspiring Hunger Food Bank. How many of you are familiar with the Pasos Fighting Hunger Food Bank. Good. Before you graduate or you get your additional degrees, visit the food bank. It's the largest, actually the second largest food bank in the country in terms of the distribution, not the second wealthiest, but the second in terms of the amount of food that they distribute in the El Paso community. Kelly Center for Hunger Relief, are any of you familiar with the Kelly Center for Hunger Relief? Fantastic. Within our neighborhood, walking distance from the Campbell Building, you see the lines up and running every single day. They're out in the public serving. They also serve our students, both the El Paso Fighting Hunger and Kelly acknowledge and tell us that they're seeing our students and their families as well. Ayuda is a nonprofit entity in San Elizalde and also in Austin and Paso Matters, which you probably are familiar, our digital newspaper, and the UTEP Student Affairs. We could not do anything without really the support of our UTEP administrators and decision makers. And we're happy to report, we need to update now this slide because we just got word, actually this Monday, that we are in the third cycle of funding. And so I'm happy to report to the council members, that we have a little bit more funding to continue the work that we're doing. We're determined to continue, but it's wonderful when you have the resources in place. So next one, please. A lot of colleagues and faculty to recognize and to acknowledge. I want to spend special tribute. I think you recognize a name on this list. Do you recognize the senator? See? Do you know who that senator is? Okay, is it within sort of like mine? Yes, absolutely. James Paul Duran, that has been instrumental in working with Dr. Schober and others. I want to also recognize Senator Alvarez. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And I want to recognize our new senator recently, who joined the SGA, who has been very, very active. So thank you both for being so active in this challenge. And many of you that have been behind the scenes, making sure that we do the work that we need to be done. We do have an IRB in place. That means that we do the work that we do in a very intentional, responsible, and safe way. So there is an institutional review board that acknowledges the study that we do every year here on campus, and the other activities as well. Next one. So with this, I want to turn it over to Dr. Schober because our presentation is two parts. The first one will be led by Dr. Schober, and then I'll come back and share with you some of the initial findings of the focus groups that we did this year. Specifically with transfer students, many of them from community college and other universities, first generation students, as well as international students.
Thank you, Dr. Moya. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. Before I get into the presentation, I want to quickly plant a seed. If it's the following. If you haven't thought of it, I encourage each of you to consider running for office later on. I think you'll all be fantastic. It was really a pleasure to see how this meeting operates, and it would be an honor to be represented by you moving forward. So if you haven't thought about that, but in the back of your mind, you never know when an opportunity comes up. But I do want to encourage each and every one of you. If you don't remember anything else I say, remember that. Okay, so this is our food and housing security, specifically looking at the survey of UTEP students. So those emails, hopefully not annoying emails, but those emails that you get asking about the food and housing security situation on campus. We run this survey under leadership of Dr. Moya, who's the principal investigator for this part of the project. We run the online survey in the fall, and we send out email invitations, and this is implemented via Campus Labs, which is under Division of Student Affairs. And so here you see the results, the percentages. The way to measure, the gold standard way to measure food security is through the USDA's measures. There's a 6-item survey instrument which we use in the survey. That allows us to estimate what the food insecurity situation looks like here at UTEP. And so we have data, as Dr. Moy mentioned, from 2019 up through 2023. We just completed the survey for 2024. Of course, it takes us some time to analyze the data. I want to highlight, specifically looking at the highlighted areas, the percentage of low food security or very low food security here among UTEP students. And so in 2023, it was at 61%. So more than 3 in 5 students are food insecure. So typically the USDA, if you're low food security or very low food security, you're grouped as being food insecure. So over 60% of UTEP students who qualify using the validated measure from the USDA qualify as food insecure. We have a major challenge. We have a major challenge on our hands. We also took, we have a measure of housing insecurity. And so according to this measure, about 9% of our UTEP students are housing insecure. So also another major challenge for us. Next slide, please. So this is a slide some have questioned or asked about how representative the survey is. So whenever you run a survey, a major question is it representative of your population? Our population is all UTEP students, undergraduate, graduate, all UTEP students. And so we ran an analysis looking at the weighted measures. So we look at those who respond to the survey, and then we weight based on those characteristics to try to get a sense of if the data moves, if the estimates move. And what this demonstrates is that the respondents who answered our survey are very representative of the UTEP student population. Because when you add the weights to the estimates, you do see some movement that changes to 59%. That would have been within the sampling error anyways. We're right in the midst of election season, so sampling error, margin of error, these are terms you've probably heard in the news. We do have a representative sample, even when adding the weights. And as far as food insecurity, that changes from 9% to 8% again within the sampling error. Next slide, please. We also looked at the impacts of food insecurity. So we have a high percentage of students who are food insecure. It's a major challenge before us. We want to understand, well, what does that mean? And so this is a research question that we looked at the impacts of food insecurity on mental health and physical health. Next slide, please. You can go to the next slide as well. And so we found that there is a major negative effect. So food insecurity has a negative effect on students' mental health and physical health. This is exactly what we'd expect. We know that food insecurity is a large social determinant of health and a very important predictor of health. And so students who are food insecure do unfortunately encounter lower levels of mental and physical health. So then I'll turn it back over to Dr. Moya.
Thank you much, Dr. Schober. Next one, please. So earlier this year, right, Paul, I think it was around February or so, we paused and we said, we understand the data, we continue to collect, points to understand the dimensions of the insecurity. We turn over the findings of the study over to policy decision makers and administrators at the university, and yet the numbers represent lives. And so for every statistic, there is a UTEP minor, and most likely there is a familia associated with that number. And so when you're looking at this type of designs, which is quantitative and very respectful, you get these statistics and these percentages, and we say, well, what does that mean? So let's go out and ask the students, and invite the students who would either be first-generation students, who would be transfer students from community college or another university or college, and international students. We were quite naive when we were planning the study, and I'll tell you why. Because in our minds, we thought about different categories of students. As if you were an international student, but you couldn't be a transfer student or a first-generation student. And the first lesson that we learned, and we've been doing this now for some time, is that there's intersectionality between those three status. And so we quickly modified the criteria and we said, come. If you're interested in sharing your perspectives and stories, we want to hear from you. And so we ended up organizing focus groups. Next one, please. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the method of a focus group, but it is a structured, guided conversation that takes place with a small group of participants, facilitated by someone that is trained in qualitative methodologies, and then records in audio and then transcribes verbatim, word by word. And then there is a thorough and rigorous content analysis to begin to identify the core themes or findings. And so we did that with the focus groups that we conducted on campus. Again, we wanted to identify student perspectives and document them. We wanted to know more about their needs and the barriers, but also the facilitators and how to access food, housing, transportation. And also we wanted to identify recommendations that were coming from the students. So what we're going to do is share with you just a few nuggets of those findings. For those of you that are interested in this qualitative analysis, we do have a report that we're happy to share with you that protects the identity of every student and then reports in an aggregate form. Next one, please. So we had a total of 4 focus groups. 25 participants in total, each focus group 7 or 8. And again, this was the original criteria, and we had to modify it because of the beauty of the intersectionality of these different categories. And we also had a group of students that were quite active in our UTEP Food Equity Council. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Next one, please. So, core findings, we did ask about food, security, housing, and transportation. And it doesn't surprise me, you know, you saw the output statistic from the study on campus. In this case, the focus groups reported close to 71% of the students experiencing food insecurity at any given time. 12% experiencing housing insecurity, a little bit higher than the original percentage, given that this is a different sample. And then this is something very revealing, transportation insecurities. We make assumptions about being a wonderful commuter campus, right? And our students come, and then they go to their classes, and then what do? They stick around campus for the week? No. They go, because some of them are working 1 or 2 jobs. They're also helping out households. They're crossing international borders. They're crossing state lines. And they're making a living the very best that they can. But they're saying they're having big issues with transportation, both cost, availability, and especially outside of the city limits. Next one, please, thank you. So when we ended up looking at the main themes, and I'm very happy to report that the data was collected with the support of graduate and doctoral students who were trained on the use of the methodology. And so many of them, you know, it was their first experience doing qualitative analysis, but they are now grounded in the power of qualitative work. These are some of the primary themes. It might not be surprising to you, but these are the things that keep coming back in the literature, that get in the way of students accessing their resources. For example, stigma. You're familiar with the term stigma, right? Is that gets in the way? Whether you call it pena, vergüenza, you know, biases, or a combination of, it's very clear that it continues to be a significant barrier on our university students that are experiencing these insecurities. And they basically say, here's one quote: I want to be seen as an equal. So sometimes I don't voice what I'm actually going through, and there's more to this. And so the students are saying, even if I'm struggling and suffering, I have this that I hold on to, and I don't necessarily share with others what I'm going through. So stigma, we have to do something about it. We have to name it, recognize it, and then we have to find ways to mitigate it so it doesn't get in the way of our students, you know, accessing the services and resources that are there for them. The second big theme, cost. It does cost to eat nutrients on campus. And so therefore our students try to bring food into the campus. Don't ask me how long is the food sitting in containers. Don't ask me why is it growing. That would be a whole different research study. Don't ask me what microwaves they're using or not. Don't ask me whether it's from the last day or it's something that they've been carrying on their backpack. What is clear is that to eat nutrients on campus, especially during the afternoons and evenings, is highly limiting. It's limited to the vending machines primarily. But otherwise, you do have to have the cash in order for you to buy unless you bring from home. The third key theme is the impact on academic success, which is also very consistent with the findings that Dr. Stover presented. And here's a quote from your peers. It would affect life for them to study, meaning to concentrate. I think, well, if you don't have enough nutrients in you or any type of food inside, meaning consumption, if you do not, it's going to be hard for you to study and focus. And so we make wonderful assumptions of coming to class, being fully engaged, prepared, being active, and yet we have no idea whether the students really have the nutrients in the system and the body to think, to act, and if they are the right ones or they're the nutritious type. That's a whole different study as well. Next one. And then 3 additional themes: support. Students that indicated that support is important. So here's a quote from participant number 1. We struggle a little. So I think of also, I rely on my friend. He brings food from Juarez. It's just so much cheaper. We just kind of do that. We put our money together and we just buy food from there and he brings it over. The beauty or the economy of being in a border community and trying to find mechanisms and creative ways of buying your goods and sharing your goods, the same thing happens with food banks. You know, students tell us we pick up some food commodities, we share with our neighbors, we cross them over states and countries, whatever it takes in order to help each other. And then the last thing, we were quite intrigued also whether our students use the food pantry on campus. And this is still a nugget that is very well sort of like hidden, because most of our students do not know that the food pantry exists. And if they have heard about it, they don't necessarily use it. And if they try to use it, not always do they recommend it. And so it's an important resource that I think we're trying to figure out ways through the council on how to lift it, right? Right, because so that more students can remove the stigmas, can see it as a resource, and can help others come over, especially when you just need a helping hand or you need a little bit of support. And so the students are telling us we can't afford better food or good quality food, so therefore we have to rely on sources and resources such as UTEP, the food pantry, and I'm especially appreciative of Kelly Center, because they're naming Kelly Center as another wonderful resource where they go and pick up extra food for themselves or their families. And then they highlighted a few recommendations, so I'm gonna just end with some of those recommendations. Next one, please. Transportation. And I know this is hard, you know, and I know that this is one that makes the administration a little bit uncomfortable about the parking fees. But maybe offer some help for those students that really show that they have a need for financial support. Housing. This is very revealing. I experienced housing insecurity really bad when I used to live on campus. In the summer and during breaks, we didn't get access to living on campus unless we paid like twice the amount of what we usually paid. Or students have to find somewhere else to stay during that time, especially students that come from other countries and international students. It's like, what do you do in those situations? That breaks my heart. We're welcoming and bringing students from incredible countries. They're planning, they're with us, they're investing. And yet during the summer, we say, hasta la vista. You have to exit, come back, we'll see you in about another 3 months. And so these are the students that are certainly, you know, navigating between systems around the neighborhood, trying to find stable housing, and then trying to do that for 3 months and then coming back and sending enough resources. That certainly poses an important challenge. Keep in mind that we also don't have family units on campus, which was something that was also brought up, especially by international students. So we need to find a way to have our families live outside of the doors because we really don't have family units on campus. Next one. And if you're interested in reading, and I know you are, there are a few articles on the subject which lift UTEP, and we've been able to publish some of these findings. We've been able to publish recommendations of our Food Equity Council, that is the students, especially for other institutions that serve Hispanic and other communities of color. And so here are 3, and I think we're working on a book chapter, and we have another submission in the making. Next one. And so in closing, I wanted to just sort of like give you a heads up. The student council is made out of 14 students that care and are passionate. Many of them have lived experience. They volunteer their time. We're meeting on a monthly basis. They're working on several projects. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paula. They're working on the garden on the roof, and the biological science building, which is a very interesting garden. You know, I ate cherry tomatoes from the garden, I want to say 3 weeks ago, and they were pretty good. You know, and the peppers are not really bad, you know. They're also working on how to lift the pantry, because again, the pantry continues to be a little bit hidden. They're working on how to make the resource hub or the QR even more appealing so that the students and the faculty, because we need to make sure that the faculty and the adjuncts and the instructors are well aware of the resources that are available to the students. And they're also working on helping the farm workers, because we have a significant farm working community in El Paso. I don't know if you know that. but we are the only city in West Texas that has a center for them. And so our council members are beginning to pick up meals from the Mustard Seed Cafe, which, by the way, if you haven't been to the Mustard Seed Cafe, you need to go. Because it's a cafe where everyone eats regardless of their ability to pay. And it's nutrients, and they are the ones that are also helping to feed many of our students through the Women and Gender Studies. Those are the box meals that are complements of the Mustard Seed Cafe. So now our council members are beginning to pick up meals for Sin Frontera and taking out those meals to the workers. So when they come from the field at around 5, 6 p.m., they have a warm meal, and it's a nutritious meal. And so that's also compliments of the council. The last two things that I wanted to add is that we are excited to announce the Hope Health Fair, which is something that we've been doing off campus now for the past, how many years now, 2016, I think we started again with no funding. And so now we have a little bit of funding. I'm happy to report, and so we're gonna leave you with flyers that we're bringing into campus. With the support of President Wilson and Provost Whitney, we sent more than 150 students volunteer for Hope. And we show up at the shelters and we serve some of the most vulnerable members of the society, no questions asked. It is really a powerful, high-impact educational practice. But what about our students? Our students are the ones that are benefiting from these services, but they're also volunteering. And they said, well, let's see what we can do. So we have a date with Destiny. We got the Centennial Plaza. We got geology building. If we need to ask for Leach Grove, we'll ask for Leach Grove. But we're going to bring approximately 65 community organizations to serve you and to serve your families. I would like to invite SGA to have a table to ensure that you are there so that you can again reconnect with your students and community leaders. And I want to make sure that at least 10 of the other stations are stations that are directly benefiting the students in our community. I would love for community college to have a presence, and I would love for your students to come to campus that day and also benefit from all of the services that we're going to have. And then the last thing, and it also makes us very proud, we understand that the mobile distribution of meals and food is coming into campus the following week. Compliments of the El Paso's Fighting Hunger, that big truck that made its presence a couple of years ago outside of the Undergraduate Learning Center is coming back, but now on a regular, intentional way. The memorandum has been signed. We understand that it may be expanded to community college. That's our understanding. But our hope is that every Monday, there will be distribution of food. Very few questions asked to anyone that wants to stop by. So check out the news, keep a track on that mobile distribution. And that was very intentional, and it took place because of the multiple advocacy efforts that were done. Students had a big say in this one, and so we're happy to report that that is happening to help the students lift a little bit their cost and pick up some nutrients. And the next thing is to really focus on how to prepare meals. And in closing, the only other thing we have pending is with community college with Chef Lugo. And so we're working with Chef Lugo to see if we can come up with a course that community college can put together for UTEP students, and how to make the most out of meals, but how to do it building on culture and sazon and flavor. And so with a little bit of money now that we have from the Paso's Fighting Hunger, I think we're going to be able to augment, and I think that that's something that the SGA is interested in supporting. So our hope is that we would have a partnership with community college where students can also learn how to make better preparation of meals. And by doing that, you gain skills and you save resources and you eat much healthier. So Paula, anything that you may want to add?
Yeah, if anybody's interested, we have our Food Equity Council meetings. We have one tomorrow from 3 to 5 p.m. and it'll be in the research building, room 2.308. If you all are interested in just seeing what we talk about, what we're trying to work on.
And that is at the IDRB, which is, I have a bad sense of direction. Don't ask me, no, I ended up at the U, you finally got here. Somewhere, yes, somewhere next door, that beautiful tall building, second floor. We offer you some granolas or whatever we can afford. There's always granolas or a snack, for everyone that is present. So with this, we wanted to see if you have any questions. Dr. Schober, anything else that you want to add?
I was just gonna say, you have a very strong voice as an individual and as a group. With great power comes great responsibility. Who said that? Spider-Man's uncle, actually. said that. No, I asked that in class, and students will say like, Plato, Socrates. It's like, no, Spider-Man's uncle. In all seriousness, you play a very important role. We have high respect for what you do. Thank you for paying attention to this presentation. Yeah, open it up to questions. Anything you like to ask.
President Loya?
Well, round of applause.
Yeah.
No, on the contrary, we want to thank you, President and Vice President and Senators, because I understand that you care a lot about this topic. And it's such a fundamental topic, the hierarchy of needs. Which is a hierarchy of needs? The fundamental hierarchy of Maslow starts with what? Food, shelter, what else? Water, clothing, housing, roofs, safety, and then you can go on to thrive and to make sure that you have those wonderful degrees that you're going to put to great use and go out and change the world. But it starts with the basics.
Senator Albright, do you have a question?
Yes. I think for the garden, I think keeps coming up a lot. I'd just be really interested if you could maybe talk a little bit about, I guess, the end goal that's actually the providing sustainable food for students.
Well, that's a fascinating question. You know, gardens have had an interesting history here on campus. And I understand that in previous years, some students started a gardening program and it went well while they were active and engaged. But when they graduated, what do you think happened to the garden? It died. Why? Because it needed to be sustained. And so we've been in conversations with Dr. Kevin Floyd, who does mechanical work at the Centennial Museum. And he is the one right now that with his students is overseeing the garden on the roof, which is a very small garden and primarily has a lot of other succulents, you know, and other plants. We visited the community college garden, and you have a state-of-the-art garden. That's the type of garden that I would love to see at our university. One where you integrate gardening into the culinary sciences. And so the lesson that I've been told that needs to have place is to ensure that the garden is integrated into the science of what we teach and what we learn. Otherwise, you know, you can try to plant, but it's not going to be sustainable in it. So what we have done is encourage our council members that are interested in gardening to really right now volunteer with the Mustard Seed Cafe. They have the Amigos Garden, which is a fantastic garden. And to also connect with the Jardín de Milagros. Are you familiar with Jardín de Milagros? Miracles happen at that jardín. And so that jardín is literally outside of Cantillo. It's sort of like borders to New Mexico. And by the way, they're always looking for volunteers. But I've never seen Armenian cucumbers as big as the ones that I've seen coming out from that field. So I think it's going to take us some years. I think we're going to have to be intentional about gardens that really would generate the kind of nutrients that are needed. I'm sure we're going to continue to eat cherry tomatoes from that group. It would be very intentional about it and a few more peppers, but it takes much more than that. So that would be something that if interested, I think a conversation with community college and NMSU would be amazing because both of them have a lot of experience doing this and they know how to do it well. Okay. So I hope that answered the question.
No, yes, thank you.
No, we got a question.
I have a question. It says February 1924.
25. Oh, that's a big typo. It's no, 2025. Please, yeah, I'm so glad. I can tell you how many eyes looked at that. And these are people with like masters and PhDs and not with glasses. I just have two glasses. I left them somewhere in the backpack. It should be 2025. Yes, it is next year. We have our date with destiny. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Okay? 2025. 2025, yes, 2025. Good catch. Any other questions or thoughts that you might have? If not, we want to again commend the officers, the leadership, and let you know that we're here to be of service. The council, if the council could be of value for you, you know, if the council could keep you abreast of the developments that we have, we're good about identifying areas of opportunity. We don't complain, but we're very proactive. So if we see that our pantry closes early, it's like, come on, we need to stay late. If it's not fully staffed, come on, we need to make sure that it is staffed. If you don't, we don't have the nutrients that you need, well, we need to bring that to the attention so that we can have a little bit more nutrients. If you don't know where the pantry is, do you know where the pantry is? How many of you are familiar with the food pantry? Most of you, fantastic, okay, great. Okay, so now it's time to look at the pantry. Eventually, we might be renaming the pantry, right, again? If that counts, I'm not worried about the name right now, it's like, you know what? You're like, let's get the nutrients in. Right now, let's focus on nutrients so that we can have the nutrients that are necessary. And we can have options for our students, okay? Thank you again. For all of you. Yes.
I have a question I don't think we asked. What do you think SGA can do as an initiative? What do you think the need is for SGA and student government for improvement?
Wow, that's a loaded question. That's like a research, that's like a PhD question. I think you can do multiple things. It's not about only one thing. I think that you can make sure that your respective colleges, programs, and departments are fully aware of the resources that are available to every student, regardless of his or her background. And the only way we can do that is not only to inform the students, we need to make sure that the faculty of every college, especially the adjunct faculty, are aware of the resources. So the syllabi is a really important tool, but we need to make sure that the resources are listed and are really well promoted. So what can SGA members do? Your voices are really powerful. Imagine if you were to just record a 30-second clip, English, Espanol, whatever language you want, putting your message out to your peers and saying, did you know that we have the following here for you? Did you know that we have a great psychological and support counseling service? That could be the difference between having a crisis or not. Did you know that if you need accommodations, you can reach out to? Are you fearful that you might lose your housing? Here we are for you. We want to know how we can assist and support. So the messaging that you do is key. And it has to come, in my opinion, not only from students with lived experience. It has to come with those students that have not had that lived experience, who can also help us to get at the heart of those that say, well, it's not my problem. It's everyone's problem. Because when someone doesn't have access to the very basic human needs, it means that really we can't thrive. And at the end of the day, basics are basics. And we're in it together. And so if you thrive, your peer thrives, you know, your neighbor thrives in food, in housing, and in transportation, trust me, jobs and opportunities will follow. Without those basics, you're left behind, and it's not fair. So that, and then the second thing is help us find ways to remove stigmas. Yeah, you are so wise. And your words are really powerful. Sometimes we complicate things. Those of us that are older, as I might not complicate things that are unnecessary. Help us come up with messaging so that we can say it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes, you know, we just need a little help. Whichever way you want to say that, because your voice can really carry the message of authority and power and support. That's the key. And then with administration, what can you do? Continue to work with President Wilson like you do, very efficiently, because she listens to you. And I understand that food security is one of the 3 top priorities for the administration. And it is because you all have pushed it and made it so. So we know that the administration level, the university is trying to find innovative and creative ways. Like, you know, we would love for the students that are really going without meals to eventually have a few meals on their card, with no stigma. Just if you're struggling and you need that extra help, how wonderful would it be to have, I don't know, 10 meals, I don't know, in a semester, that you can just swipe the card and use it. No questions asked. That means possibly finding the funders that are out there, that are willing to put a little bit of money into the food. It would be powerful to have that extra support. That doesn't stigmatize, it doesn't say, well, I am struggling, I'm or I don't have, no. No, I just need it and therefore I can swipe it and I can use it. Make sense? So those are a few suggestions. I know that you already did a keychain that already has a QR, and that is a really powerful piece because now all services are on a QR. But now the question is to get us to do what? Scan it and then use it. And then make sure that you give feedback to the office of the provost because these resources are going to continue to change, and if there's something missing, you can bring it to the attention of the administration. Dr. Schober?
I was just gonna add that, there's a lot of needs, there's a lot of objectives, and you as leaders have to make very difficult decisions about what you're gonna support, not just financially, but with your time. As I get older, I see just how valuable our time is. And so I encourage you to truly look at everything that you're supporting with your time and with the funds that you have, and to think about, is this what we want to support versus food security, housing security? Those are tough questions. We don't have a formula or answers to those, but through discussion, you all can find those answers. And I like also to remind, sometimes we do things because that's what we've done before in previous years. That is not a good reason to do something. So if you ever find yourself doing something or kind of just doing it because, oh, we did that last year, really challenge yourself and say, is this what we want to do? As a governing body, is this what we want to support?
Senator Rodriguez? Did you have a question? President Lloyd?
Dr. Moya, could you talk a little bit about the food banquet happening next week?
Yes, as we understand, the food distribution is being led by Student Affairs. And Student Affairs has communicated to us that the food will be available. They're going to alternate distribution. I believe it's going to be on the Sunball Drive first. But I also understand that there will be times when the food will come into campus and could be parked, I understand, outside of the undergraduate learning center. Right now it's going to start at Sunball Drive, and it will be every Monday. However, the first, third, and fifth Monday of the month. It's going to be, I believe, in the morning, correct? Between 9 and 1?
Yes.
Yes. 9 to 1, first, third, and fifth Monday of every month. And then the second and the fourth is primarily going to be in the afternoon. I think they're scheduling 3 hours in the afternoon between 2 and 5. And so every Monday, there will be, I understand, food on campus. Last time, the way that it worked is that they had the pallets, and there were huge pallets. And they basically brought the pallets in, and the pallets had non-perishable goods, which means that they had a lot of good stuff. I've never seen so many kiwis in my life. And I'll tell you a quick story. We had so many students stop by. At first they were like, they didn't believe that the food was free. As actually they walked by the side and they looked at it and said, no, thank you. And then we said it's free, and they turned around and said, what? And I said, yes, and it's here for you. And I said, what? But I don't have any money. It's like, again, it's free. May I offer you some food? Come on over. Maybe a neighbor, maybe a friend. And so we had students that looked at the stuff and said, those are awful potatoes. And I said, well, really, they're like nice kiwis. And they're like, what do you mean kiwis? What do you do with a kiwi? And it was fascinating, the conversations that we had with students, because they hadn't seen a kiwi, they hadn't used a kiwi. And so just the conversation of what do you do with a kiwi? There are like 10 things that you can do. And by the way, this is how rich it is. So it's a good opportunity to have good conversations with students as well. But you're going to be able to pick up some really good stuff. Stop by. We're going to recommend that you bring your grocery bag. I'm not sure they're going to have enough. Last time we ran out of bags. And we're using boxes. Not ideal if you are carrying cans. But then again, you're young. Or bring a very spacious backpack. But if you're studying chemistry and all those things, I don't know if you have enough space in your backpacks. But bring a grocery bag, and that's basically what you will need. The other important thing is once you register for it, you can use that keychain number in any food bank or distribution site in the county of El Paso. Okay? So you're going to be able to have access to the El Paso's Fighting Hunger food distribution sites. you and your family. How wonderful is that? Compliments of the Apostles Valley County. Did I answer the question?
Senator Paul Wright.
Yeah, sorry, one last thing, just real quick. You mentioned the like more in-depth qualitative research about the focus group. How would we get a copy of that?
You're interested in the copy? I think Dr. Shower, we can make that report available to SGA. I can certainly forward that to your president, and it's lengthy. And it's not, you're gonna, don't print it because I don't want you to kill another tree. I just get one from having here. And so save Mother Earth, but it's a PDF file. It protects the identity of all of the 25 students that participated in the study, but it gives you more than you ever wanted to know on the methodology and on the core themes and the way that these were grouped, as well as the core recommendations. So we're happy to share that with your board, and your board will, if you could make it available to those that are interested, adelante. If you wanna use it as a reference, cite it accordingly, the information is there as well. Okay? Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Esmeralda Duran. Alrighty, guys, moving on to our next point of business. Under new business, Green Fund Committee, Senator Rodriguez.
Yes, that's me. So I'll go quickly, guys. So I will say that the meetings have not been as consistent as I would like to, but this last meeting went very well. Do you guys know what the Green Fund Committee is to begin with? Okay. Oh, is that okay. Well, basically, I'm sorry. So all the students pay $3 per student per semester. And basically what they do is sustainability projects. So have you guys seen the bikes on campus? They've done that. So recycling stations and the water stations. So basically what we could do, or anyone could do, is just send them a project that you have. They have a lot of funding. Nobody knows about the funding and or uses the funding. So then what happens is they just have to do like a little event, but I'm like, we literally come up with a bigger project, which now I can talk about the board, but whatever. The new thing that they're doing is they have a new website, a new logo, they're promoting the Green Fund, and then they have upcoming projects, a lot of them. So I'm hoping to really start promoting them once they get everything situated.
Senator Ramirez.
What if we submit a project like the whole SGA?
I think so, because I will be honest with you, I think they really have a lot of funds and they don't know what to do with them. So I think it would be a great idea to come up with something together to present to them.
Senator Betts.
Yes. So while they were talking about like what we can do to help with food insecurity and mentioning like us taking on a project together through the Green Fund, I've become a little bit familiar with it just because of Isai and Ariane. Joanna and I were talking about maybe coming together, proposing, asking them to build like a greenhouse, to build like an actual garden on campus.
Senator Diaz.
Yeah, if I can speak a little bit to it, in the community college I center before this, we did have a garden there, and it was like a great way to stock up the food pantry. And it was really good because we also have students from agriculture, right? That can go ahead and take that on as a project as well, get their hands-on experience, and in return, we get a food pantry of healthy food.
Senator Alvarado.
To go on to Juan's point, right, I guess 2 years ago, I had sent a resolution to SGA to have like a garden where we grow food and the produce would go to the food pantry. That'd be a great idea to build a greenhouse. We just have to find the location, yeah, that's the only part, but hey, the liberal arts, it's being knocked down, right? So I think it's being converted to an arroyo, but maybe you can put it there.
SML Duran.
You guys want to talk about this for like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
So I move to open the discussion for 5 minutes.
All right, we got a motion on the floor for open discussion for 5 minutes. Senator Guerrero.
I second.
We got a motion and a second to open discussion for 5 minutes. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. Any abstentions? All right, open discussion will be open until 7:46.
The closest green fund thing that I've ever got into, and if SGA as a whole ever presented it, it would be a great idea. It's actually a solar panel that it has seating on campus. Every major, a lot of major universities across the United States actually have these. We're called the Sun City, but we don't utilize the sun at all. I know we're talking about SGA, and this happened during my sophomore year. Green Fund was a lot different back then. They said they would shoot down a lot of things. But if as an organization, if you guys ever wanted to do something, this would be my pitch to you guys.
It's open discussion.
What's the damage?
Yeah, how much?
Yeah.
The Green Fund has millions of dollars. It's like, I think the damage was, actually, well, I got a couple of quotes. This happened, I'm telling you, this happened a couple of years ago. I think every unit costs, I think, 10 grand. That's it. So they're huge things where the battery lasts forever. Maintenance is not hard, but if you guys ever wanted to do that, we can start working on that. If that's an idea you guys want.
And that would like implemented where?
Wherever you guys want to sit. I mean, the biggest. But this is just a quick pitch. It's because it's crazy that this came up. I didn't think this was going to come up today.
For
But
research labs.
you can do a lot of things.
Yeah, we use
You
a
know?
lot of electricity.
But I'm saying like you could even do. There's a lot of. If you,
Another thing I will add that the minor has a minor height solar
Panel.
panel project. So they have.
they've used solar panels, but the biggest thing that students complain about is seating on campus.
They're not sitting outside.
Because there's no places to sit on campus outside.
There's a place right outside, but I think it's called physical science. Right where all the construction is, I've never seen anybody sit there.
I'm not gonna sit in the sun.
I think he needs unplayed with shade.
Yeah, there's shade.
In the Union, have you ever gone to the Union in the breezeway? When it's actually nice, people are always sitting there. I'm just off, this is, we're spitting out ideas, guys.
Did you have to?
When you-
$10,000 on solar panels to go on top of any building.
This is just an idea, guys.
There's a bill for 63,000 that they passed.
Yeah, again, guys, this is just an idea. If you guys go to this company,
Dude, another one for 75,000. The money's there.
the money is there. So if you go to that company, there's a lot of products. Do you know how we have the emergency things?
Yes.
There's also standing charging stations you can do across campus. It's ideas, guys. But this was something that Green Fund, if you guys want to do stuff, solar panels, I think we should invest in.
Yeah, it's cool, but why not straight solar?
But that doesn't have a direct impact on like the student body. I mean, just putting like random, I mean, it does.
It is 100 degrees outside on outside.
I think that's better than just having straight up solar panels on top of any building.
You think so?
Yeah.
The only, so the thing with the solar panels on buildings, we did research on it. They're not, when you have a solar panel on a building, you need to clean it. Whose job is that going to be? So the thing is that it's not that big. It's not, you don't have to maintain it. You don't have to go clean it. You don't have to, when it's sitting on a, does that make sense?
Yeah, shade only saves you so much.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
They last, I think it was like 20 years. And of course, whenever you replace it, it's not as expensive.
And the places that.
Do you have a question? It seems like you're.
have a conversation.
It's just ideas, guys.
So it kind of has to do with this, but kind of reeling it back into what me and Alyssa were talking about a little bit. So it would more than likely be brought in as a resolution to keep it as project period in order for it to continue
That's a good idea.
sustainable. That way, you know how she was saying that there was a garden and then it just kind of died out. SGA may be creating an ad hoc committee in order to sustain it and. Mhm.
Or maintaining it like through.
Or can the initiative be led by?
Wait, but then are we?
Well, there's a project committee for both.
That's a really good idea.
SGA as a whole.
Open discussion has ended. Would you guys like to extend? Senator? Guerrero? All right, we have a motion on the floor to extend open. We got a motion on the floor to extend open discussion for 2 minutes. Senator Chacho? All right, we got a motion and a second to extend open discussion. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. Any abstentions? All right, the ayes carry and the motion passes. Open discussion will be extended until 7:48.
For project period, I thought it was under the well.
Yeah,
she's
well,
saying that we would
to
say
create, like similar to project period, but
Oh.
yeah, and maybe, yeah. And so going into with a green fund, since they have a lot of funding, they could help us out with funding for the seeds and everything that we would need. And Alyssa was mentioning that it's not only beneficial, like, for, you know, for, sustainability, but also mental health and well-being. I know a lot of our students are stressed out about classes, so it'd be cool to just go contribute to your community, but also relax at the same time.
Well, the possibilities are endless. We should have really.
I think it's maybe like funding for the great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm still having place with.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a great idea.
Because I think if you consider putting those, like, the panel near the garden, it would help out.
Yeah, there's support. I don't know if I pitched an idea or not.
Are you gonna pitch it or no?
Senator Pettis?
I motion to open discussion for 5 more minutes.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to extend open discussion for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I had to.
Senator Guerrero?
I second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to extend open discussion for 5 minutes. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. Nay. All right, nays carried. Open discussion has ended. All right, moving on to our next point of business. Under new business, student representatives.
Hello, everyone. So because we did not meet last week, we actually have a few requests from campus committees. I'm looking for student representation within SGA. So the first committee, this is from the Vice President of Information Resources, specifically the Infrastructure Committee. This one is new. I don't know if you may remember 3 committees from a few months ago. We had appointed L.A. Neville to this committee, but unfortunately he will not be able to continue serving in the committee. And so we need to appoint another student or another SGA member. Their first meeting was this Tuesday, but I did communicate with the Vice President of Information Resources, Mr. Luis Hernandez, that because a lot of our senators were out of town, we would probably not be able to appoint someone before that meeting. So they're aware of that. That was barely their first meeting this academic year. And if you're interested in volunteering to serve in this committee, they would update you on that. So at this time, I would like to ask for any volunteers for this committee.
We have information.
Yes.
So originally in the summer, we were told that we were supposed to serve in a committee, external committee. However, I think some of us can agree that we didn't get reached out for our external committee. And we're just wondering what happened with that.
Well, these are these external committees.
Okay, so like,
They're based on, need.
yes, just, that's my question, because I know we had done nominations earlier in the process. And just my question is,
We have not done nominations for any committee.
we did it in the
Well,
subcommittee.
yes, but,
Yeah, that's my question, like. 'cause
oh, are you asking about your committee
I was
specifically?
supposed to be in the
No,
VCR.
yours isn't for the infrastructure committee. Yours was specifically for the academic innovation.
Okay,
And they have your contact information. And he told us that he would reach out to you again.
right, because I know that's something that we discussed with Edgar and, with the president and vice president.
Yes.
And we checked my email, right? And we also saw that I didn't receive anything from them.
And they still haven't emailed you? This was, last week? They said that they would contact you again.
Okay, because I know that the discussion that I had with both the vice president and the president was taken like about a month ago, a little more than that, right? So,
Yeah.
that's my question in regards to that.
Your information was shared that same meeting.
Okay.
So if they have not reached out to you, but they told us that they did. They reached out to everyone. So I can follow up with them again, but this is our third time following up with them.
No, you're good.
Senator Burkhardt. Point of information, Persephone, my LA, also has been reached out by the cybersecurity.
Really? That is very strange because, we were all reached out that none of the appointed representatives have responded. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, in that case, I'll look into it.
Senator Diaz.
Anybody encountered the same issue or no?
This was just 3 of you.
It was just 3.
So you, Persephone and Dylan. Yeah. So if that's the case, that's really weird. The VPIR told us that he didn't have an issue with LA Boroughs. Yeah, no. Interesting. Okay. Well, this is an interesting case. But to confirm, you are still interested? They have not met. Like, they are barely meeting this month.
No, I just had a question because I know that y'all said it was required, right? So that was just my question for that requirement. But I know that since I already served in the union,
Yeah, no, you're.
so I know I'm pretty good for that part, but I just had a question.
Yeah, that's what we know. So are you confirming still so that we can work out with them to figure out what's going on there with the communication?
Again, I don't want to say yeah, just because I don't know what the subcommittee looks like. If you can just give me more information with regards to the meeting time and if that correlates with the schedule, then more than happy to do it. If not, then
So to reiterate again, because they are barely meeting this month, they barely decided their committee meetings probably. So we can reach out to him again to see what's going on there. But the only one that we would still be a representative for would be the infrastructure committee.
Senator Avila.
Point of information, what is the company about?
My goodness. The infrastructure committee, specifically under the VPIR, it includes any technology and information technology, specifically infrastructure. I don't know. If that helps, I know I have more detailed information, but I don't remember right now specifically. But anything having to do with technological infrastructure. So is there any volunteer or representing the infrastructure or information resources? Okay, so I will let them know.
Like, can you ask our LAs?
Yeah, you're LA, like I mentioned, and LA was previously appointed to this committee, but they can no longer.
Send an email, a little bit more information. So they can decide.
So for LAs to be included into this, we'll send out an email with a little bit more information, just so that they're also aware and they can probably be interested in this. But if you have an LA, please let them know of this too. That would help us a lot. But in the meantime, I'll let them know that we haven't found a replacement for this particular committee. And I'll follow up on the cybersecurity and academic innovation. Something weird is going on there. Let's see. So moving on, there's the Student Health and Wellness Committee looking for 1 to 2 members. Yes, Senator Duran is currently representing this committee. However, because he is graduating this December, Ms. Leticia Baez, who is the Assistant Dean of the College of Health Sciences, is requesting our help to find replacement for Senator Duran. So I will be taking volunteers. We're looking for 1 to 2. Oh my goodness.
Wait, quick question. For information. So, can you repeat the nomination process for the?
Yeah, it's on the next point.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a cool weekend.
Senator Aldo. Point of order. Senator Aldo. You want, yeah, we take down names. All right, Esteban Duran. Just point of information for everybody that's joining. So it's like, when they talk about Alliance Student Wellness Center, like anything, you kind of work with the doctor a little bit. It's actually a really cool and great experience. And they only meet once a month. Senator Ramirez.
I would like to volunteer too.
Senator Gutierrez.
So for those of you interested, can you please hold up your class, please? And then I'll call your name once I write your name. And from what I know, their meetings are every 3rd Wednesday of alternating months. So every other month, assuming, at 9 a.m. Where are these meetings held?
It's in the replay of the college website.
Okay. Alrighty, so currently I have Senator Ramirez, Senator Alvarado, Senator Gutierrez, and
Senator Brickell.
Senator.
I would like to nominate Senator Rodriguez.
Senator Rodriguez.
Senator Alvarado. We have, yeah, sorry.
Alrighty, so I have you all for down. So they're looking for up to 2 members, and these committees, because they are external, are appointed by the VP of External Affairs and President of SGA, so we can figure out how to do that. But
I'll let the winners know. No, I don't.
it's a lot, you know. We'll take care of that.
Order.
But we can take care of that on our end. Okay, lastly but not least, the ADA Advisory Committee is also looking for 1 to 2 members. This committee is currently led by Ms. Alisa Gutierrez. She is the director for CAST, the Center for Accommodations and
Support services.
Support services, there we go. I was reading the services. What's the other S for? Okay. And Ms. Beatriz Tapia, she's the director of the Equal Opportunity Office. And so their meetings are every 2nd Wednesday of every calendar month. And by that, that means even when there is no school until the summer, including December and January. At 10 a.m., that is a typo, my apologies. But these are hybrid meetings. So they are held at the Union East, room 128, but also through Teams. So if you're not able to go in person. So yes, Is there any?
Senator Diaz?
And just point of information, so I'm a previous member of that committee. Basically what you do is that you try to push initiatives to make the campus more accessible for ADA accommodations. So one of the things that they try to do, for example, there's like Carter Memorial or other buildings that are not ADA accessible. And you try to find like solutions to try to see what we can do to make it accessible for those people. So if you are interested in that, I definitely recommend that committee.
Senator Avila? Senator Guerrero?
I volunteer as well.
Any more volunteers for the advisory? Excellent. So we have our two student representatives for this committee now. Yay! Alrighty, and with that, I will yield my time for now.
Thank you, APE. Buddies, moving on to our next point of business, under new business, Collegiate of Health Sciences. So as you all may know, Esther Maldonado will be graduating this December, is the Collegiate Senator of the College of Health Sciences. So we are looking for a replacement. What will happen is that we are looking for a senator at large to be nominated and then elected so that they switch over from being a senator at large to a collegiate. This would enact in January. So at this point, I'll be taking in nominations if you belong to the College of Health Sciences. So for those senator at larges that belong to the College of Health Sciences, you can nominate yourself right now. If you do so, I believe Esther Maldonado will start giving you guys a little bit of guidance on meeting the dean and so forth. Senator Boatwright?
Point of information, can we nominate someone that's not here presently?
Yes, you may nominate someone that's not here. Senator Boatwright?
I move to nominate Senator Ortega.
Senator Ortega. There's also self-nominations if someone would like to nominate themselves. Senator Chacha? Yeah, we're about to Senator Burkhoff?
I would like to nominate Senator Rodriguez.
Senator Rodriguez, do you accept your nomination?
I don't have to. They already nominated me.
We'll notify Senator Ortega, but it's likely that she'll be our next collegiate of also. Is it Senator Alvarado?
I nominate Senator Diana. I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
Tiene la placa, tiene la placa.
Oh, thank you.
Point of privilege. All right, thank you guys. We'll go ahead and continue on with our next point of business. Under new business, resolution, respect, and protect safe sex practices. Senator Boatwright, Senator Zuniga, Senator Gutierrez, and Senator Alvarado. Do you step front?
Pues no tiene que estar. No, pero no tiene que hacer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that right? Yeah. Could you scroll up? Okay, so we're presenting, we have a resolution for our, we turned our special project into resolution, so it's more long-term. And so this is our Senate resolution for respect to protect safe sex practices. And so whereas respect to protect safe sex practices is a resolution to create awareness of sexual health and promote safe sex practices on campus due to the lack of accessibility to contraceptives on campus. Therefore, this project will provide condoms across campus to prevent students from the risk of STDs, STIs, HIV, and unplanned pregnancies.
Hello? Okay, so Here's some more statistics. I know we had a lot tonight, but I'll try to, make it as clarified as I can. So we got it from the Texas Department of State Health Services, which is under the Texas Department of Housing and Human Services.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, you need to get it. Okay. Anyways, okay, it says here, reported an estimated 231,461 STD cases for the year 2022, which includes chlamydia, early latent syphilis, gonorrhea, and primary and secondary syphilis. Based on the data, people of color were disproportionately affected at higher rates, indicated at 843.3 or 31,556 cases. The non-Hispanic white groups at a rate of 193.9 or 23,151 cases. In terms of gender, women are nearly twice as likely as men to have a case at 671.1 or 732,000 cases versus men at 366.2 or 54,996 cases. Additionally, young Texans aged 15 to 24 years old experienced the highest rate at 2,112.2, which is 91,707 cases, with the second highest rate occurring between ages 25 to 34 years old at 1,051.1 or 45,608 cases.
Whereas, through collaboration with community partners, condoms will be donated to this project for free. The City of El Paso HIV Prevention Department has committed to providing 2,000 condoms on a monthly basis.
Yeah, 2,000, right?
I'll just keep going. So, be it resolved, the Student Government Association endorses Respect and Protect safe sex practices to provide free condoms to students, thereby creating awareness of safe sex practices in sexual health and diminishing the transmission of sexual diseases.
Be it further resolved, condoms for Respect and Protect safe sex practices will be distributed in the following locations: Student Government Association Office, the Health Science and Nursing Building, first and second floor, Office of Women and Gender Studies, the Student Health and Wellness Center, the Undergraduate Learning Center, first floor, the library, second and third floor, the New and East restrooms, first and second floor, the Fox Fine Arts Building, the Liberal Arts Building, second and third floor, the Education Building, the Business Building, Engineering Building, Psychology Building, Minor Heights, Minor Canyon, Minor Village, and the Student Recreation Center.
Talk a little bit more. Yeah. We can begin with any questions from the Senate. Any comments?
This is an amazing resolution. Right?
Yeah.
Really important. Do you think we can make like some sort of another committee eventually?
Yeah, so that's what we were going to talk about. Is we're planning on forming a special project committee, because like with Project Period is taken up in welfare. So to ensure that this is more sustainable, where we have the supply of condoms, we're going to be forming a committee. So looking for volunteers, if anyone would like to join that committee, to actually be a part of whether that's stocking it or just helping us with, maybe they have to go pick up the condoms some other time. So if anyone's interested, we'd really love support.
SML Duran.
I have a question for President Boyle. Why can't we make like a committee that just restocks the period and this, instead of like, you know what I mean? Maybe
restocking
committee. Maybe.
Alright, point of order. President Lance.
Why can't we? I mean, there's nothing stopping. I have to just create it. But I don't know if I feel like I could trust the group that would be taking on to constantly be restocking, to be transparent with you. I think that's a big part. I need to know who would be the members in the committee before I decide to create it.
And just point of clarification, we were thinking of doing this test run of doing a special project committee, and then seeing how that goes. And if it goes well, then we're thinking of using the members of that committee to form an ad hoc committee.
What about this also?
What?
Or DRC.
Or DOC.
Wait, whoa.
That could be something.
It's done serving its purpose,
I agree.
No, yeah, I would agree with that. I just think that, of course, SARC has an important role as well as DRC. DRC needs to review the constitution and bylaws right now, so they do have and the election code once again, so definitely not DRC. And then SARC, I mean, we've got work to do. But we could form another ad hoc. We just put more on you guys' plate.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, we have to join an external committee, we have to join another committee.
That's
I'll put it this way. Is all of SARC present right now? Who's missing from SARC?
Definitely not. Is open discussion?
Yes. Senator Diaz?
I'm going for an open discussion.
We got a motion on the floor to open discussion for 5 minutes. Senator Perez? All right, we got a motion and a second to open discussion for 5 minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes carries, motion passes. Open discussion will be open until 8:16.
Here's how I'll say it. If SARC gets done with everything in the next 2 weeks, I think that's a fair time frame. If they get done with everything and the committee itself agrees that they'll be the ones to restock that, I'll call it right now.
I think the thing is that I feel like. Yeah, because I feel like SARC.
We haven't,
I feel like SARC has been doing it.
we have like 7 pending to be
Better than
voted.
previous years, because we've been appointing more people to incorporate them into our legislative branch, right? So I don't think dissolving them could be an answer when they're, yeah.
Well,
I think it's just a good idea to use it as a test run. Even if it's just like 6 people, like, us 4 are gonna be in it. Like,
Yeah, so
two more. You can see what happens.
Point of order, it is open discussion, but let's keep it professional, one person at a time. Ileana wants to volunteer. Thank you.
Wait, how soon are you guys planning to do this? Like, as soon as possible?
Yeah, so we already have, like right now we have, what, like 2,500 comments.
Like
And
20?
so we're waiting on, getting approval from the building managers. Then once we have approval from them, we'll start signing.
I guess I'll make the announcement now. News drop. I'm creating a new committee called the Legislative Assistant Committee. I know me, Saeed, Burka, Early sat down in the room for a while. Juan as well. We were discussing what was it that we could give to them to do. Now that I think about it, I think this is a good idea. If you all agree, I could pass it over to them.
So will there be any senators? Because personally, I'd like to have some oversight of this.
You could be the chair.
The way it would work is that they would have their own co-chair and chair, and that could only be LA's, and they would report to Alexis.
So ideally, like the main thing about this is that we want the LAs to have an enriching experience with it. Like, because eventually we want to hopefully see them as senators, right, eventually. So we can give them, yeah, so we can give them type of responsibility and get them more incorporated within our legislative branch, things where enticing more people to hopefully join us.
Good stuff.
I would need to hear more. Personally, I don't like that. Just because I feel like if we don't have senators that show up or report to the committees, then I respectfully, I don't know how much the LA is.
Respectfully, I come to a lot of the meetings and I.
Yes, you do, but you're not the average LA.
Okay, but I'll be chair.
I think it depends heavily on the senators that the LAs are appointed to. And if you have a concern for that, maybe get an LA so that they can be in that committee and fully transparent with you of what's going on, if that's something that you're worried about.
I think since it
I'm
is,
just letting you know. I'm sorry.
I think since it is Fulbright and their project, I think they should have some sort of say as well.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't want to just hand us off to you completely honest. We did all this work.
We still have a minute left in the open discussion.
So like, aside from the talk of establishing something, this would, I figured, fall under welfare committee.
Yeah.
there needs to be something established because we're already slammed with project period. We have other things going on. So that would be a lot for us to undertake.
No, that's why we're not asking welfare. That's why we're gonna plan our own. We were planning on creating our own committee that way, just as people that would volunteer.
So
We're
I
in
think
the
that,
bathroom.
I feel like the initiative is amazing. I know y'all are doing amazing work. But I don't want you to think that we're not thinking this is a great idea because it is.
Yeah.
Right? Especially the project they did. I heard it was a tremendous success. So kudos to you. I think you did an amazing job with that. Again, I feel like there's a lot of logistics that we have to discuss. And honestly, I prefer we discuss it outside of this.
No, I agree.
Just for one, because we have guests here, and two, just for the sake of time.
Okay, they got it. Open discussion has ended. Senator Boatright, floor is yours.
Is anyone else have anything else to add?
So I have a question. So we would talk about it at another date.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like we can discuss this a little bit later once we inform y'all about the ideas that we have when it comes to this.
Oh, you're asking us to table this?
Yeah.
No, we can pass it now. We can pass it now.
No, you can vote on it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can vote on it right now, but I think we should just have the discussion of how this is gonna operate at a later time, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess we're looking for a motion.
Yeah, wait, Senator Chacho?
A motion to pass, respect and protect safe sex practices, Senate resolution.
We got a motion in the floor to adopt resolution, respect and protect safe sex practices. Senator Diaz?
A second.
All right, got a motion and a second to adopt resolution, respect and protect safe sex practices. Senate Secretary, we proceed to a roll call vote.
Senator Perez.
Yes.
Senator Perez Ramos.
Yes.
Senator Duran.
Yes.
Senator Diaz-Olmos.
Yes.
Senator Ramirez.
Yes.
Senator Alvarado.
Yes.
Senator Bourret.
Yes.
Senator Cobb. Abstain. Senator Chachman.
Yes.
Senator Gutierrez. Senator Guerrero.
Yes.
Senator Lechuga. Sorry? Yes. Senator Morales.
Yes.
Senator Ochoa.
Senator Ochoa?
Yes.
Senator Rodriguez.
Yes.
Senator Zuniga.
Yes.
Through a 2/3 majority vote of the Senate, we hereby adopt resolution, respect and protect safe sex practices. Yeah, just, right. All right, good job, Senators. Moving on to our next point of business. Under executive cabinet reports. President Williams, floor is yours.
Well, hello everyone, thank you all for being here. EPCC, thank you all for joining us. I'll quickly go over my points, and it's gonna be the Plaza Technical here. I know Dr. Tony touched about it. So there's gonna be a food truck that's gonna be coming to El Paso once a week on Mondays to go ahead and serve delivery food. And they actually need volunteers. So I know a lot of you had said that you feel like we should do more community service. So I would like for us to not do the first one, but do the one that's here in, when it comes to UGLC, just because that one's gonna get a lot more traction with students compared to the Stumble. So I would like for us to go ahead and do that as our big community project for the fall semester. Typically, we should do one in the spring, we do Project Move. So I would like for us to go ahead and try to do the, as I'm saying, food truck, just go ahead and give out food to the students and talk to them. And as a part of that, like breaking down the stigma. If you guys notice, you guys are the leaders. So when people see that you guys are taking action, others go ahead and do so. But other than that, any on this topic.
Well, when is that? What is that? What day is that? It's not this Monday, it's tomorrow.
So that would be Monday, the 18th, correct? 11th. No, not 11th, so 11th when it comes. So yeah, Monday the 18th would be the time. And it's right around Thanksgiving, so it's a good time to go ahead and give.
It's also,
And it's in the evenings. Yeah, so the sun isn't as bright.
I'll send you all more information in the email. We'll get all of that. One of the points that I had, which doesn't seem to appear, is EPCC. I'd like to go ahead and briefly open up the floor to Luis, the president from EPCC, and kind of go ahead and talk to you a little bit about what they do, and then maybe bounce some ideas back and forth that we can go ahead and take from there since ours. But maybe feel free to come down. Yeah, sure. Give me a round of applause.
Hello again, everyone. Again, my name is Luis Caro. I am the president of the student government there at UPCC. It's super cool to be here. Thank you very much for having us. We're learning a lot. We are gathering a lot of ideas and things that we can implement over there. I'm happy to see that we function very similar. I'm happy to see that we have the similar interests, and that we, at the end of the day, we all strive for student success, student wellness, and student commitment in campus. That's actually one of our main interests in the UPCC, to improving student retention and improving student success, for them to feel that they're in a campus that cares for them, and to feel that their student body, their professors, and most important, their student government cares about their success and wants to see them with a degree in their hands. So that's like the most important thing about being part of the SGA. Remember that as officers, you guys have a lot of power in your hands. You guys have a lot of people that look up to you, and a lot of people that have a lot of expectations to you. I know that I know they say that can be very frustrating at times, can be very intimidating, and you're like, what's the point of being here? You know, like I can just be like a student. Like, it could be so much easier, but no, what you're doing here is very important. So always feel proud of yourselves and feel proud that you are representing students, and in your hands you have a lot of power. So yeah, there's that. About things that we do over there, as I already said, we advocate for students. Right now, we're very interested in student retention. Very interested in making sure that EPCC is what it used to be before the pandemic. I am not gonna lie, it has been very hard for the school to get back on their feet after the pandemic. We have a lot of departments that have lost funding. We have a lot of professors that are not as involved or as interested in being actually good in their classes. So that's our main interest. That's a better thing that we can get out of for semester or for year. So yeah. If you guys have any questions, if you have guys ever want to reach out to us, please feel free to come to our meetings. You can find all of our information in our Instagram page. I know that YouTube SGA follows us, so just check us out, check everything we do, and yeah, thank you so much.
Just like I'm kind of interested. I'm not sure should I ask or not. So we have a lot of bills, but who keeps the track for the budget? Because I didn't see do you have a treasurer?
So we have an administrative service coordinator. So she's a full-time staff that takes care of like all the budgeting for us. Yes.
Okay, and I'm kind of interested. It's because for our meeting, the president has to preside over the meeting. So is it different from for you? Like the VP has to preside over the meeting?
Yes, like in our constitution, it's just stated that way, or like the vice president is the one that presides over the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And yeah, that is my thing. Thank you. Thank you.
So like something really interesting about like community colleges, Jay, is that whenever they have like something similar to TSAC, which is the Texas Commercial Institute, right? Yeah, so they have that. So all of the SGAs go in, and I'm gonna say I'm embarrassed because when someone got called point of order in front of 2,000 people, it was embarrassing, but that's why I learned parliamentary procedure.
And I also kind of think that your bills are so smoothly by per hour. It's like another audience says, hey, you gotta fix that already. Okay, bring that up in our next meeting. So I was like, oh wow, that was very smooth.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you have people who say no on the bills? Do you have people who say no on the bills when you're
It's because for one, we had a couple of resolutions. For one resolution, one of our campus representatives has presented, and he changed it for 4 or 5 times. And he had to bring it up to a meeting like 4 or 5 times, and then we get to approve the resolution. But for you, the resolution has really, can you change the couple of words? I noticed that the food thing. So you just change the thing that you need to like just instantly. But for us, you have to bring it up, and then you have to change everything, and then get approval from your leadership office, from our advisors, and then bring it up again, and then it's very complicated.
I have a question. Do you guys have the bill reader come to Senate?
Sorry.
The bill reader, you know how for some of our bills, we had someone else that wasn't necessarily read it. They're the ones that came and asked for the funding. Do you guys have that person come in?
So I'm the chair, like I'm the VP, so I'm already the chair for the committee, like the clubs. So all the bills comes, if any club wants to do any kind of event, they have to come to me for their bills. So I get to know a lot of professors, but I love to be VP. So I say hi to the VP. So, and also, what else? Oh, for the senators, they cannot vote for as our, they do not have voting powers. But here, the senators have to vote, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Like a lot of things. And also, you have one senator for 1,000 students, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. That's like more broad than
Anything else? Any questions you guys might have?
If the senators don't vote, what do they do?
Yes.
yeah. The e-book has to vote.
Yeah, we have 5 members, apart from our council representatives for each campus. We're the ones that vote. Well, I cannot vote because I'm the president, but the executive officers are the ones that vote. And the senators, they help with their activities, with other business that the SGA has going on, but not voting.
And they are like people, they have to report to, or I can say like supervise their, by their campus representative. So yeah, it's their campus representative who gives them the words that they have to do.
How long do you guys meet, like, is it weekly?
Weekly, on Mondays.
3 to 5?
It depends, sometimes it goes over.
It goes over.
Take note of that.
It's just you all are so busy during the week.
Well, I'm not talking about the Mondays, I'm talking about the 3.
And adding up his answer, our president also can vote. This is something we learned from ACA, the conference. So if it's a secret ballot, or if he thinks that something is getting biased, like someone is saying something and everyone is getting influenced, so he can vote when we have a secret vote ballot, or if he thinks that something is getting to someone's side, so then he can vote.
I have a question. Please just have it embroidered.
So yeah, we have to wear it every event or every week. It's our uniform. There you go. Right.
Pulling it out.
And you also have to wear the polos. We have a polo shirt.
I
Like,
mean,
like
Oh, wow.
has to be totally. But thank you for having us. We learned a lot. Thank you.
I've heard all the things.
Thank you, President Loya. Thank you, President Lisa. All right, moving on to our next point of business. Under Executive Cabinet Reports of Vice President of Internal Affairs. All right, so for our spring retreat, we have the dates confirmed. I'm sorry, it's we've got about 2 months until then. It is a mandatory event. It is likely to be in Ruidoso. So please mark your calendars. The dates are going to be January 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, January 10, 11, and 12. I'll just give you guys a second to save it.
¿No te pasa que te juntan enredado con el de los reyes?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so just once again, this is mandatory. If anyone for any reason foresees them not being able to attend, please speak to me immediately. Yeah, we'll go ahead and speak further on the details, as time goes by, which should be next Senate session, or the one after that. Moving to our next point of business, under hours. Everyone's been doing a fairly good job. There's still a few of you that haven't been clocking in. So please don't forget to clock in. Deductions will begin to start taking into effect. I know you guys have my here present, so just make sure to put in the hours. And we need to register them. Other than that, I'll move on to my next point, which is special projects. If you have not worked on a special project, please contact me. Oh, actually, please stay here after the Senate session so we can talk a little bit. So if you have not done one, I have a list, so I'll track you down. Moving on to my next point of business is the quote of the week. This one was prepared by E.A. Navarro, and it reads, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending," by C.S. Lewis.
Wow.
Alrighty, moving on to our next point of business. Under Executive Cabinet Reports, Vice President for External Affairs, Vice President of External Affairs.
Okay, hello everyone. So I only have 2 quick points for you all. So first of all, I submitted the second SGA apparel order through RIDE. So this again is for our new members. If they're missing their polos or their casual jacket, as well as those of you who really wanted a 3rd jacket. So that has been submitted. Hopefully, I did request a preferred date for us to have that merge by the end of the semester. So fingers crossed. That would give them about a month, which that's about the time it took once everything was paid for. So we're rooting for that. And then lastly, the professional headshots that have been coordinated directly with the photographers for marketing department. So the photographers reached out and they were able to give us a 2-hour session specifically for us, either November 15th or November 22nd. So both of these are Fridays, and that's based on the availability from those who responded to my email. And so this will also be taken at the Herzog building. So again, that's a photo studio, so that all these photos are the same. I sent a Teams message to all of you who still need a headshot for the website. So if you have not responded to that, please go ahead and do so. We need at least 10 members who can attend the session, and there's 16 of you who still need that photo. And so far, right now, November 22nd is the date that is winning. So I would like to be able to respond to the photographers by tomorrow. That's pretty much the only thing that they are waiting for us to confirm. And then they are doing a walk-in session. That's the one they do every month. This will be on the Tuesday, next Tuesday, November the 12th, between 9 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. I know most of you who still need a photo is because you are not able to go during that time. But if you're not able to go to the November 22nd or 15th, if that ends up winning, the next walk